Breaking news tonight, the NYPD is responding to an attack in Lower Manhattan that killed several people. Citrus TV News has live updates on the situation along New York's West Side Highway.
On campus, Sims Drive is open again following an incident involving a tractor trailer. We'll tell you what damage was done to an overpass between Archbold and Flanagan gymnasiums.
And find out how last night's mayoral race ended for the candidates and who is leading in the polls.
Now, Citrus TV News Live at 6 starts with breaking news.
It's a very painful day in our city. Horrible tragedy on the west side. Let me be clear that based on the information we have at this moment, this was an act of terror, and a particularly cowardly act of terror aimed at innocent civilians, aimed at people going about their lives who had no idea what was about to hit them.
That was Mayor de Blasio moments ago at a press conference. Officials in New York City are investigating a fatal act of terror near the 9/11 memorial.
Other speakers at the press conference say paramedics rushed several people in critical condition to hospitals. As of right now, 8 people are dead. I'm Federico.
And I'm Lianza Reyes.
Right now, Citrus TV's Nicole Dementri is on the ground in Manhattan after a vehicle surged through a bike path along the West Side Highway.
And this is Nicole Dementri reporting from the Upper East Side tonight, just hours after the suspected terrorist incident occurred downtown near the World Trade Center and Chambers Street, where a rented box truck clipped a curb and ran into pedestrians in a bike lane intentionally, as New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio just came out and said in a press conference. We are hearing that 8 people are dead, 12 are injured tonight. The suspect was shot in the stomach and sent to a hospital. This all according to a New York Police Department briefing that just occurred in the 5 p.m. hour. Now, for Newhouse, New York City students, we are not having class tonight. Our professor did tell us that she will be canceling our class, and the director, Shelley Griffin, as well as our other director, Cheryl Brody Franklin, is accounting for everyone and making sure that we were all safe and accounted for. Reporting live from the Upper East Side, this is Nicole Dementri, Citrus TV News.
Thanks, Nicole. Citrus TV will continue to give updates on the situation as confirmed details come in.
Just into our newsroom, an accident on campus. Citrus TV reporter Noah Wolfe is at the scene where a tractor trailer drove into an overpass connecting the Archbold and Flanagan gymnasiums. Noah?
Only a few hours ago, a tractor trailer ran into the overpass you can see here behind me. The bridge serves as a walkway between Archbold and Flanagan gymnasiums. The driver of the truck did not know his vehicle was too tall to go under the pass, and the top of the truck hit the bottom of the bridge and caused minor damage to the outside of the structure facing the Syracuse campus. DPS says the walkway will be assessed for any structural damage, although they believe it's only cosmetic right now. DPS also added that while the dent is not very big, it could cost up to $1,000 to fix. SU Parking and Transit added that the truck kept driving towards ESF and didn't stop to assess any damage to it or the bridge. Sims Drive also closed for about half an hour while DPS cleared the scene, but reopened later at 4 o'clock. No one was injured in the event.
Thanks, Noah. Parking and Transit says they are going to look into creating an overhead sign that includes how tall the bridge is. The clock is ticking for the mayoral candidates of Syracuse. And how are the candidates preparing? Zachary Levine is live in studio to tell us more.
Last night's mayoral debate at SUNY ESF was nothing like one of the presidential debates we saw last year. However, it did provide candidates one last chance to pitch their platforms to voters in the city of Syracuse. Lights, camera, action. Last night, voters got a chance to make up their minds from the comfort of their living rooms. With just 1 week to go before Election Day in Syracuse, Juanita Perez-Williams, Ben Walsh, Howie Hawkins, and Laura Levine went at it one more time on live TV. The candidates focused on topics including city safety, poverty, high tax burdens, and the possible city-county government merger. Well-known Central New York news anchors Matt Mulcahy and Megan Coleman moderated last night's debate. A large audience filled up the Gateway Center at SUNY ESF, but their interaction with the candidates was limited.
The crowd is invited to be here. The public is invited to be here, which is nice that they have a chance to watch in person if they'd like. But since it's only an hour long, for us to get into a town hall discussion where we're taking questions from the audience would have required a whole different setup. So, especially with 4 candidates, we want to give them the time more so than just one person asking a question from the audience.
Democratic candidate Juanita Perez-Williams and independent Ben Walsh are leading the way, according to a poll conducted earlier this month by Syracuse.com, Spectrum News, and Siena College. Now, most of the people who were at the debate last night had already made up their minds, but a broad range of topics discussed is sure to be beneficial to undecided voters. Again, Election Day is 1 week from today.
This is the last week for the 6th Dean of Hendricks Chapel. Syracuse University announced Reverend Brian Conkle will become the 7th Dean next week. He started his transition period this past summer. His goal here at SU is making Hendricks the spiritual heart of campus and a model of diversity and inclusion. Conkle is already making differences both in and outside of the chapel through hurricane efforts and weekly convocations. Syracuse University is holding a 3rd day of the mumps boosters tomorrow. Health Services added another day because of the large number of people who were interested but didn't get a chance to go last week. The clinic is open from noon to 7 p.m. and students can make an appointment online. There are currently 29 confirmed cases of the mumps on campus.
The Spanish Club put together an altar for the Day of the Dead in HBC today. Las Naranjas celebrated this holiday with a Mexican tradition. The altar was in the entrance of HBC until 4 o'clock today. The club encouraged people to take selfies and tag Spanish at Syracuse in pictures on Facebook. And the sidewalk near the Women's Building will be closed for the next 3 weeks. The university is working to improve lighting and safety for pedestrians in the area. During the first week, pedestrians will be unable to access the north and west parts of the building. Signage will be posted in restricted areas to provide alternate routes for pedestrians. Other sidewalks, however, will be on full duty tonight, handing out candy seekers. Today is Halloween, and millions of trick-or-treaters will dress up in costume and go from house to house asking for candy. Citrus TV reporter Jenna Babyak is here to tell us what you should keep in mind when dressing up tonight.
A lot of popular costumes sold and worn by Americans on Halloween are considered culturally offensive. I spoke with one human rights activist about what cultural appropriation really means and why we need to be extra sensitive on this holiday.
When you're dressing up as someone and you don't know what you're dressing up as really, it's just inherently offensive.
Native Americans, Egyptians, Eskimos, Mexicans, and Muslims. These are ethnic groups and identities, but to many Americans on Halloween, these are costumes.
If you were to wear a hijab on Halloween, even though you might not mean that as offensive, it is offensive to the originating culture.
Leparco says many college students don't think about the people on campus who might be hurt by their costume choices. You might be thinking that your costume won't offend anyone you know, but according to SU admissions, minority students make up a quarter of the student population at SU. Odds are your costume is offending someone. There are plenty of alternatives to costumes that appropriate culture.
Skeletons, ghosts, fairies, all that stuff is okay.
But still, Americans continue the tradition of dressing as other people.
Dressing up as another human being, it kind of dehumanizes them.
Students in Amnesty International are continuing to raise awareness among students about being sensitive to other cultures, especially on Halloween. Whether you're trick-or-treating or not tonight, there are so many creative costumes you can wear that are fun and not offensive. Have a happy and safe Halloween.
Thanks so much, Jenna. A local school district is recovering after flooding canceled classes yesterday. Watertown School District officials say Case Middle School had over a foot of standing water in it after the weekend's heavy rain. The rain flooded the parking lot between the middle school and high school, too. Students returned to class today, and the district is preparing to finish cleaning up the mess. And a major cleanup is underway at Lake Creek in Liverpool. At least 5 million gallons of raw sewage is flowing into the creek due to recent heavy rain. City leaders say the sewage is moving at 9,000 gallons per minute and will be difficult to bring under control. Other crews are also working to stop a separate pipe burst, which is dumping more raw sewage into Onondaga Lake. That pipe also burst because of the heavy rainfall.
1 week from today, all New York voters will get the chance to vote on Proposition 1. Prop 1 is a simple yes-no question whether or not the state of New York should hold a constitutional convention. Here to break it down how it all works is Talking Points anchor Mike Riccardi. Thank you for joining us.
Glad to be here.
So, Mike, how exactly does Prop 1 work?
Okay, so basically in 1957 this process began, and it asks the question, shall there be a convention to revise the Constitution and amend the same? And every 20 years thereafter, this same question gets asked. Now, the last time we did have a constitutional convention in the state of New York was 1967. Basically, all the changes that got proposed were put into one proposal, and that proposal failed.
Mike, who are the biggest supporters in opposition of this movement?
So State Senator DeFrancisco, who is a Republican, the #2 ranking in the Senate, he's in opposition to this. He says it's a waste of money. Teachers and policemen and firemen are also in opposition because they're afraid of losing their pensions. Interestingly, Syracuse.com, their editorial board, has endorsed yes. They say that the money that it'll take to hold this convention can be made up with serious changes that may come out of the Constitutional Convention.
All right, Mike, thank you so much.
Glad to be here.
Today's winds are over 20 miles per hour, and it made it feel a lot chillier than it actually was.
Josh Feinblatt is in studio today to tell us what to expect for the rest of the week. Josh?
Yeah, guys, it started out cold and it stayed cold on this Halloween day. It rained earlier in the day, and even up until just a little while ago, it continued to rain. But while you're trick-or-treating, it looks like it's not going to rain too much. Right now, about 42 degrees. The rain should have cleared up by now. I have been out in a couple of minutes, but it feels like 37. It was a chilly day today, and it also around the area, the rest of New York felt it as well. 42 degrees, 43 degrees around the area. And tonight it's going to be a low of 34, but I'll go hour by hour later in the show about how your trick-or-treating weather is going to be. Stay tuned.
Thank you, Josh. Coming up, Bo Bergdahl's sentencing hearing continued today. Find out why he got emotional.
Plus, find out why getting a flight in Argentina might be a little tricky in the next few hours. We'll be right back.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for information on how to provide even better care for the person who wants to care of you.
Look at you. You're at the top of your game. You're unstoppable. Nothing can throw you off track. Wait, is that your car? Uh-oh. Yeah, I saw that coming. That will throw you off track. You're looking at around 10 grand in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Let's try this again. Smart move. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Every time I hear the alarm bell go off in school, I think it's an air raid.
A lot of houses in our neighborhood have been destroyed. I like to close my ears and sing songs whenever the bombs come close.
I'm worried our new neighbors won't like us.
But I know it's all gonna be worth it. I just want my family to be safe. But these are not my words.
These are not my words.
These are not my words.
Come on, it's not that hard.
My big man fingers are having a problem with these little tiny buttons.
Whoa, watch it there. Your blood pressure's gonna go through the roof.
Tell me about it. I'm trying to learn how to get it down. Instead, it keeps going up.
High blood pressure can increase the risk for heart attack or stroke. Learn how to keep yours at a healthy range.
Ever hear a voice command? Just say text barbershop to 97779.
That's not what I said.
Just give me that. Now my blood pressure's up.
You're watching Citrus TV News with Alyssa Candiata, Connor Federico, and Josh Feinblatt with weather. Citrus TV News continues now.
And to New Yorkers, be New Yorkers and live your life, and don't let them change us or deter us in any manner, shape, or form. Thank you.
That was New York Governor Andrew Cuomo speaking at a press conference on the deadly attack in New York City this afternoon. Justin, police just released the name of the 29-year-old suspect. Law officials identified the attacker as Tampa resident Sayfullo Saipov.
He is of Middle Eastern descent and was waving an air pistol and a BB gun when police arrived at the scene. Eyewitnesses report that the man yelled "Allahu Akbar" before he was shot in the stomach by police. He is currently in the hospital. As of this time, 8 people are confirmed dead, with at least 15 injured. Mayor Bill de Blasio described the event as an act of terror in the press conference. House Republicans are struggling to finalize their tax plan ahead of its original scheduled release date tomorrow. It is unclear now that if the plan will be released tomorrow.
Adjustments are being made today to address concerns from GOP lawmakers in blue states, including those from New York. New York lawmakers have expressed concerns about the GOP's original plan to repeal the state local tax deduction, which they say is heavily used by middle-class New Yorkers. And facing life imprisonment, the testimonies from Army Bo Bergdahl continued today at his sentencing hearing. Bergdahl faces life in prison after prosecutors found him guilty for leaving his remote battle post in Afghanistan in 2009.
Bergdahl broke down into tears several times while talking about details of torture in captivity. Bergdahl also choked up while apologizing to the service members wounded in the year-long hunt to save him.
Overseas, air traffic is coming to a major halt in Argentina today. Argentinian pilots say they plan on striking for 24 hours.
The strike follows a failed deal between airline companies and aeronautical unions. The pilots are speaking at a 26% pay increase instead of the proposed 16% increase.
A nuclear war is totally unacceptable to everybody. Somebody has to talk.
That was the president of the Philippines talking about the North Korean threat today. He was in Japan to speak to Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe about threats facing the Asian countries.
The two countries agreed to an $8 billion economic deal while there. Critics say this is another attempt by Japan to wow the Philippines, who is a key player in the South Asian region.
From the Citrus TV Weather Center, this is SU's most accurate weather forecast.
Happy Halloween to everyone out there. I've got an hour-by-hour forecast of what it's going to look like if you're out trick-or-treating or if you're going out tonight. It's going to be in the low 40s at around 7, 8 p.m. if you're getting an early start. If you've got kids or you're hanging out with kids, at around 9, 10 p.m. it's going to drop into the 30s, into the high 30s, and around 11 p.m. it's going to start raining, and that'll end around 12, 1 a.m. when it drops to 37 to 38 degrees. And our rain forecast, if you're going to see, it's coming in right now. That's rain that just passed us, but coming in tomorrow morning, coming in early in the morning at around 11 to 1 a.m. That's that, and it's going to rain into tomorrow. And Wednesday morning, it's going to be cloudy. It's going to rain from around 11 to 1. It's going to clear up for a little while, and it's not going to rain until later into the day. And that is going to be at around 1 p.m. later in the day. So if you've got class until then, better bring your umbrella. And the rain will continue all the way into late Wednesday morning at around 10, 11 a.m. And the temperatures tomorrow are still going to be cold. They're going to keep dropping. 37 in the morning, 44 at around noon, and that's about the highest it's going to get, a high of 45 tomorrow. And looking at our 5-day forecast, it's 67. We had 46 degrees tomorrow. 64 is going to be the highest of the week. Thursday, Friday is going to be around 59, and game day on Saturday. It looks like it's going to clear up, so if you're going out for a pregame or anything like that, it's going to be around 50, but you don't need to bring an umbrella. But have a great Halloween. Avoid the rain, everyone.
Coming up, cruising into their new home, find out where the next U.S. Toyota headquarters will be located.
Plus, your favorite Netflix show might be coming to an end. We'll tell you why after the break.
There's one thing you can never have sex without.
It's not something you buy.
Or something you take.
In fact, there's only one way to get it.
It has to be given to you, freely.
It's consent.
Because sex without it isn't sex.
It's rape. Consent.
If you don't get it, you don't get it. It's on us to stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
Here we go. We're gonna go out there in the rain. It's gonna get wet. All right, here we go. Go, bro. Okay, quick. Oh yeah, yes. So much fun. Mwah. We're getting so wet.
If you see news happening on campus, in Syracuse, or across the nation, call the Citrus TV newsroom, 315-443-1177, or tweet at Citrus TV News, your campus news leader.
Toyota has a new North American headquarters. Georgetown, Kentucky has been selected as the host city. The $80 million engineer hub will have about 800 employees, including about 600 engineers. This is a part of Toyota's plans to invest $10 billion in the U.S. over the next 5 years.
Netflix is canceling the show House of Cards. Yesterday, actor Anthony Rapp accused Kevin Spacey, the star of the Netflix original show, of making a sexual advance on him when Rapp was just 14 years old. Spacey released a statement on Twitter apologizing for the encounter that he says he does not remember. Netflix officially canceled the show yesterday and suspended production of the final season earlier today.
Coming up after the break, the Syracuse football team returns to the Sunshine State this weekend. We preview the matchup between SU and FSU. Plus, the NFL trade deadline passed this afternoon, and I've got one word for it: bananas. Find out who the Bills acquired to add offensive firepower. That and more in sports next.
They told me a bottle couldn't dream. That I would never become a superhero. But I learned how to fly. Just to come back in a new disguise and be the hero that I've always wanted to be.
They said I have troll teeth.
That my voice sounded like a possessed baby doll.
That no one would ever love someone as stupid as me.
That I was fat, ugly.
Disgusting.
The effect of bullying is potent. We will no longer be the silent majority.
Now, when you see online bullying, there's something you can do about it.
We're gonna take action with the I.
I am a witness. I am a witness. I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness, and so are you.
Taking care of a family member can lead to plenty of questions. Fortunately, there's a place to get the answers, for them and for you. Find articles, tips, and tools from experts and others who have been in your place. The Caregiving Resource Center at aarp.org/caregiving.
Here's your check.
Oh, you got it. You know, since I got rid of my car, I really enjoy walking.
Okay. Got it. Nope.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates.
Oh, you're home early.
You live with your mom?
That'll set your game back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
And now, your Citrus TV Sports Report.
Happy Halloween, Syracuse. I'm Jake Marsh with sports. Starting off with breaking news out of the NFL. The Bills trade for wide receiver Kelvin Benjamin. Carolina sends the former first-round pick to Buffalo in exchange for a 3rd and 7th rounder in next year's draft. The Florida State product reunites with one of his former coaches in Western New York. First-year head coach Sean McDermott was the Panthers' defensive coordinator for 6 years. Continuing with a busy week in the league, Philadelphia adds an offensive playmaker. The Dolphins traded running back Jay Ajayi to the Eagles for a 4th-round draft pick this morning. Ajayi ran for more than 1,200 yards last year and appeared in his first career Pro Bowl. Meanwhile, the Patriots traded quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo to the 49ers last night. New England received San Francisco's 2nd-round pick next year. For the Giants, it's not a transaction at the trade deadline, instead a suspension. New York cornerback Janoris Jenkins is sidelined indefinitely after violating team rules. The 28-year-old has 1 interception this year. That came against Denver in the G-men's lone victory this season. Now let's go back to week 1 of the college football season. The expectations for Syracuse make a bowl game, and with a 4-4 record, that remains the case. As for this weekend's opponent in Florida State, the Seminoles were in the college football playoff conversation, but FSU is 2-5, so the trip down south should be a cakewalk, right? Not so much. SU head coach Dino Babers says the Noles' talent should not be taken lightly.
You go back and you look at their record, you want to say that because of their record they're not very good. It's not true. If you look at the games that they lost, you give them 15 points and let them sprinkle it where they want, and I think they're a win-loss football team. You know, it's kind of similar to us. You give us 3 touchdowns, 21 points, you know, we could be an undefeated football team, but you can't go back and do that. So this team's a lot better than what the record indicates, and they started off in the top 3 in the country, and they have those type of athletes.
You'll have to go all the way back to 1966 to find the last time Syracuse beat Florida State. A man by the name of Floyd Little ran for 191 yards and 3 touchdowns in his final game at Archbold Stadium. Now, it might not take a heroic performance this weekend to take down the Noles, but some offense would help. Kickoff in Tallahassee on Saturday, set for 12:20.
Thank you so much, Jake. And let's shift our attention to the World Series. What do you have going on tonight between the Astros and the Dodgers?
Connor, this series is destined for 7 games. There's no doubt about it. It's been so much fun. I love watching baseball, especially in the World Series. I like Los Angeles tonight.
Great.
Thank you, Jake. Citrus TV News will be right back.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes? B, console her?
Don't worry, sweetie. This is gonna happen a lot.
Or C, find her a new boyfriend?
Nice, single boys. That was weird.
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
That's all for Citrus TV News live at 6. I'm Connor Federico.
And I'm Lianza Reyes. Have a great evening, Syracuse.